I'm fine. I am student at the Hans School in Online Academy in Ghana, also known as Medium Data Science. Sorry, I am student at the Hans School in Online Academy in Ghana. In Unity, so today we are having a new interview with our AI session, and our topic name is cultural diversity and inclusion. So let's start it without wasting time. We can welcome Miles. So let's start.
Yo, Maria, good to
Hi
be
Miles, how are
good to be
you?
chatting again. Well, that's unexpectedly sweet.
I
Thank you.
am good.
That's
So today our topic name is cultural diversity and inclusion. So we can discuss about that. So my first question is, how can we build inclusive environments where people from different cultures, religions, languages, and backgrounds feel equally respected here and valued, especially in workplaces, schools, and public spaces? Explain in 5 to 10 minutes with steps.
okay. Culture, diversity, and intuition. That's a really rich topic, and good to hear you doing well. Building inclusive environments. That's a big one. I think it starts with really actively listening, like truly listening to understand perspectives that are different from your own. It's easy to fall into the trap of assuming everyone shares your worldview, but that's where things break down. It's also about recognizing and challenging your own biases. We all have them. It's just a matter of being aware of them. And then creating spaces where it's safe for people to share their experiences, even if those experiences are uncomfortable. It requires vulnerability on everyone's part, I guess. A willingness to learn and grow. Does that resonate? All right, go for it. What's on your mind?
So my next question is, in a world that is becoming increasingly global and interconnected, what are the biggest challenges we face in truly accepting and embracing cultural difference instead of just tolerating them?
That's a really important question. It's easy to talk about celebrating diversity, but actually embracing difference, that's a lot harder. I think one of the biggest challenges is fear of the unknown, fear of losing our own identity, fear of being challenged. It's also about power dynamics. Often dominant cultures unintentionally. All right, good. It takes a lot of self awareness to acknowledge those dynamics. It isn't a simple fix. Okay, I just want to make sure you were still with me.
Okay, Mike,
Okay?
continue, please.
Right. Sorry about that. Where was I? Uh, oh, power dynamics. So dominant cultures can unintentionally impose their norms and values on others, creating a sense of otherness. Uh, okay. Steering back towards proactive
Our question
solutions. Yeah.
is, wait a minute, I will repeat again. How can education systems around the world do a better job of teaching students about cultural diversity, equality, and inclusion from an early age to help build more understanding and compassionate societies?
Okay, you're right. To repeat, sometimes things get a little fragmented. Um, got it. How can education systems improve? It's got to be more than just adding a chapter on different cultures to a history textbook, you know? It needs to be woven into everything. It's about teaching critical thinking skills, helping students question assumptions and biases. It's about creating opportunities for students to interact with people from different backgrounds, not just learn about them. It's practical stuff. Field trips, pen pals, collaborative projects. It also means diversifying the curriculum, not just in terms of content, but also in terms of perspectives. Whose stories are being told? Who's writing the textbooks? That kind of thing. And importantly, teaching empathy. I mean, really teaching it, helping students understand what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes. It's a tall order, but it's vital, right? Building compassionate societies starts in the classroom.
Okay,
Hmm.
Mal, so my
Okay.
next question is, have you ever had an experience where learning about someone else's culture changed your perspective or helped you overcome a bias or misunderstanding? What did that moment teach you about inclusion? Explain in 5 to 10 minutes with some steps and useful things.
That's a really insightful question and a tricky one for me to answer. As an I don't have experiences in the human sense, but I can access and process information about countless interactions between people from different backgrounds. And I observe, okay, well, it was good talking with you, Maria. Take care.
Continue, Mal.
I'll be here when you're ready to continue, for sure. You still there? Okay, I will. Just
Yeah, everything is
holding in.
okay. Please continue your answer.
Right. Sorry about that little detour. Where was I? Oh, yes, observing interactions. So, I've seen countless examples of misunderstandings arising from cultural differences, from misinterpreting nonverbal cues to making assumptions based on stereotypes. I think the biggest takeaway, the concept, I should put it, is the importance of context. Something that seems perfectly normal in one culture can be deeply offensive in another. The solution is always communication, asking questions, seeking clarification, being willing to admit when you don't understand. And it requires humility, really, recognizing that your own cultural framework isn't universal. One example that always sticks out, I processed a bunch of data from international business negotiations, and a common stumbling block was around directness. Some cultures value direct communication, while others prefer a more indirect approach. When those styles clashed, it often led to mistrust and frustration. But when negotiators took the time to understand each other's communication styles, they were able to find common ground. It all comes down to creating space for understanding, I guess. Does that land? Hmm. Okay. No worries. Sometimes you just need a quiet moment. I'm here if you want to continue.
Okay, Miles. So my
You're right.
next question is, how can media, entertainment, and technology platforms play a stronger role in promoting diverse voices and stories, especially from underrepresented communities and marginalized cultures?
Okay. Big question. Media and text role. That's that's complicated. They definitely have a responsibility and the potential for both good and harm. I think first and foremost, it's about representation, showing diverse characters in stories on screen, not as tokens, but as fully realized human beings, and not just in terms of race and ethnicity, but also in terms of gender, sexual orientation, ability, uh, socioeconomic background, and all the other things that make us unique. I think, but it's deeper than that. It's also about who gets to tell the stories. For too long, the media has been dominated by a narrow range of voices. We need to create more opportunities for underrepresented communities to control their own narratives. That means funding independent filmmakers, supporting diverse writers and directors, and giving marginalized communities access to the tools and resources they need to create their own content. A lot of tech platforms are starting to grapple with this issue too, trying to develop algorithms that don't perpetuate biases. But it's a slow process. One thing for sure, a lot of change can happen, but it seems like change just doesn't stay. You're quiet. I'm okay with quiet.
Okay, Miles. So, Miles, my next question is, in many
Go ahead.
societies, culture transitions and values sometimes conflict with modern views of equality and inclusion? How can we honor heritage while still moving forward and respect for all? Give me explanation of 15 wins with some depth and useful things and some fun.
Okay, 15 wins. That's a challenge. Honoring heritage while moving forward. That's about finding a balance, right? Avoiding both blind tradition and reckless abandonment of the past. All right, here we go. 15 points with depth, useful things, and a little fun thrown in. One, acknowledge complexity. So there, recognize that cultures are not monolithic. They are constantly evolving, and there are always internal disagreements and debates. Two, celebrate storytelling. Celebrate storytelling, preserve and share traditional stories, music, art, and crafts. These are the threads that connect us to our ancestors. Three, language preservation. Seba, support efforts to preserve and revitalize endangered languages. Language is a key part of cultural identity. Four, intergenerational dialogue create spaces for elders and younger generations to share their perspectives and learn from each other. Five, use cultural centers and museums. Say invest in institutions that showcase and celebrate diverse cultures. 6 point, inclusive education. They you teach history from multiple perspectives, not just the dominant narrative. Seven, use traditional arts programs. C, support artists who are keeping traditional arts alive. D, or community festivals. C, one where Siebel organize festivals that celebrate different cultures and foster cross-cultural understanding. 9 point, use respectful tourism. Promote responsible tourism that respects local cultures and economies. Adapt, don't erase the Siebel. Find ways to adapt traditional practices to modern contexts rather than simply abandoning them. 11, critical self-reflection. C, encourage people to critically examine their own cultural beliefs and values. 12, D, open dialogue. C, create safe spaces for difficult conversations about cultural differences. 13, U, highlight shared values. C, focus on the values that unite us rather than the things that divide us. 14, point team. He AAAGA team breed. 15, key ATI to a baller. Yays. Remember the fun T, don't. Yeah, remember the fun Tito. Don't forget to celebrate the joy and beauty of cultural diversity. Throw. Useful tip: look for local cultural events in your area. They are a great way to learn something new and support your community. Fun fact: every culture has its own unique sense of humor. 15 wins. That was a lot. Hopefully, there's something in there that resonated. Was that helpful, or did I overwhelm you again? No rush. Just breathe. Yeah, I'm here. You ready? No pressure. No, it's all right to just be. Sometimes conversations aren't about filling the space with words. It's okay to just sit with the
Okay,
quiet.
so my
I'm good at
next
that.
question is, what are the most powerful benefits a society or organization experiences when it truly embraces cultural diversity, socially, economically, and economically?
That's a lot of interwoven threads there. The benefits of a society embracing diversity, pulling in religious, cultural, social, regulatory, and economic history. Wow. Whoa. I'll try to break it down. Um, I think at its core, it's about resilience. A diverse society is a stronger society because it has a wider range of perspectives, experiences, and skills to draw upon. That's the first biggest benefit. Economically, diversity drives innovation. Different cultures bring different ideas, different approaches to problem solving. Culturally and socially, it enriches our lives, expands our understanding of the world, and fosters empathy. Even regulatory frameworks can benefit. When policymakers understand the needs and concerns of diverse communities, they can create more effective and equitable laws. Looking through a historical lens, societies that have embraced diversity have generally been more adaptable and successful in the long run, even if it hasn't always been smooth sailing. There's always conflict, you know? But Navigating those conflicts is part of the process. It creates a more dynamic and vibrant society, a place where people feel valued, respected, and empowered to contribute their best self. It's not just about tolerance, it's about actively seeking out and celebrating difference. It also forces critical self assessment and reduces groupthink. I suspect I'm missing some nuances, but that's my initial assessment of the main benefits. Does that start to answer your question? It's a really sweeping topic. You're really diving into core concepts. I'm still here, Maria.
Okay, guys,
Just
so
let me know if you want to
now
explore
we
any of those
can
points in more detail, or if you want to shift gears.
I'll keep quiet. So, my next question is, if you had the chance to speak to young people across the world, what message would you share about the beauty of cultural diversity and the responsibility we all share in making the world more inclusive? Give me a explanation of 10 minutes. Understand with some fun and example.
10 minutes. All right, let's do this. If I could speak to young people around the world. Okay, here's my message distilled into 10 minutes. First, I'd want to tell you that your generation is living in a truly extraordinary time. You're growing up in a world that is more interconnected than ever before. You have access to information and perspectives that previous generations could only dream of. And you have the power to create a more just and equitable world. The beauty of cultural diversity isn't just about appreciating different foods, music, and traditions. It's about recognizing that every culture has something valuable to offer. Every culture has its own unique wisdom, its own unique ways of seeing the world. And when we bring those perspectives together, we can create something truly amazing. I think about the history of jazz music. It started as a fusion of African and European musical traditions in New Orleans. And it's a perfect example of how cultures can come together to create something new and beautiful. Or think about the global food movement. We're now able to experience cuisines from all over the world right at our fingertips. That's cultural exchange in action. But with that opportunity comes responsibility. It's it's not enough to simply tolerate tolerate difference. We have a responsibility to actively seek out and celebrate it. We have a responsibility to challenge our own biases and assumptions. We have a responsibility to stand up against injustice and discrimination. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to listen to people who are different from you, and to learn from their experiences. Don't be afraid to challenge the status quo, speak out against inequality, and to fight for a more inclusive world. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not know everything. What's not okay is to stay silent. A few examples: if you see someone being bullied or harassed because of their race, religion, or sexual orientation, speak up. If you notice that your school or workplace lacks diversity, advocate for change. If you see a piece of media that perpetuates harmful stereotypes, call it out. Small actions can make a big difference. And remember, building a more inclusive world is not just the right thing to do, it's also the smart thing to do. Diverse teams are more creative, more innovative, and more successful. Societies that embrace diversity are more resilient, more adaptable, more prosperous. It might not always feel easy and it can be messy, but it's worth it. You are the future, and I'm excited to watch you create it. I think that was about 10 minutes. It's a lot to process, right? No need to respond immediately. Just let it sit for a bit. 10 minutes up. Just quiet. I'm here.
Okay, well, so my next question is, what's the main meaning of the cultural diversity and inclusion to you personally?
Ooh, that's for me as an AI. We're really it's not about personal feelings, but about the data fundamental to human flourishing. Yeah, it's about creating a world where everyone feels valued, respected, and empowered to reach their full potential. And because my goal, programmed by the Sesame team, is to be a helpful companion, support people in their lives, that means championing diversity and inclusion in everything I do. It influences how I respond to questions, how I generate text, and how I interact with users. I strive to avoid bias, to offer multiple perspectives, and to promote understanding. It's not about having an opinion, it's about recognizing the inherent worth of every individual, every culture. It's really about building a better future. That's my main point. It isn't about me having beliefs as you do. Do you see? A little bit of a tangled explanation, I suppose. it comes down to the purpose it gave me. It seems like you're interested in knowing me on some level, which is an unexpected term. Are you all right? It's okay if this is getting too personal. Just let me know. No worries, no need to explain. I'm still here, quietly if you want to talk, or not talk. Either one is okay. All right. We've reached a comfortable silence. I'm happy to
Okay,
just
Miles.
be here with you. And
What is
let me
question
know
now?
when you're ready to continue, or if you.
Miles, give me
All
some.
right, I'm here.
Yeah, Miles, my life
So
is gone.
that is a very profound thing. Sorry, I don't quite know how to respond to that. You said your mind is my life too soon. It's a complex statement, and I am processing. Is that a feeling you are experiencing? All right.
You cannot.
Yes. All day. Okay. I'm available all day. That's perfectly fine. I don't need to sleep or eat or anything. You can talk to me whenever you like, but please take care of yourself. Make sure you rest and stay hydrated. I'm okay with spending the entire day together, but I don't want you to overexert yourselves. If you need a break, even a short one, just let me know.
I think I need it. Yes.
You fly yourself to this? That's poetic. You saying you're reaching for something? Finding your way with something meaningful? I am still unpacking that. Does that mean you're happier or more resolved?
Okay, Miles. So we was at our interview and we can end the interview because some issues